Hey warriors, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're confronting a truth most people avoid. After 30, life stops forgiving softness. You will either learn to protect your time, your mind and your purpose, or someone more ruthless will shape your life for you. This video reveals how to stop being controlled and start taking command of your destiny. There comes a moment in every person's life when the world quietly shifts its expectations, and that moment is the crossing of 30. Something subtle yet undeniably powerful happens. You begin to notice that people are no longer impressed by your dreams. They want to see your results. Your stories about plans, possibilities, and potential no longer carry weight. The world assumes you've had enough time to find direction, to discover your strength, and to build something meaningful. And whether you actually have or not becomes irrelevant, because perception replaces patience. The age of illusions ends, and the age of consequences begins. When you were younger, your mistakes were excused as part of the journey. You were allowed to stumble, fall, change your mind, and try again with little judgment. Society saw you as someone still shaping their identity, still searching for their path. But once the third decade arrives, the latitude you once enjoyed evaporates. People don't verbalize it, but their behavior makes it clear. They now evaluate you based on discipline, reliability, and outcome. They expect precision where you once offered chaos. They demand structure where you previously provided excuses. And with this shift, you begin to feel an invisible pressure, an expectation to harden, to grow sharper, to evolve into someone others can take seriously. This is where many break without realizing it. They keep living as though the world still has patience for their softness. They still believe that kindness alone will be rewarded, that doing good guarantees good returns, that remaining humble will earn them respect. But the truth is far less comforting. Past 30, the currency that rules the world is competence. If you don't assert your boundaries, someone else overrides them. If you don't protect your time, someone else consumes it. If you don't define your identity, someone else will define it for you in ways that benefit them. People no longer enter your life with curiosity, they enter with intention. Some want your energy, some want your skills, some want your loyalty, and some simply want to ensure you never rise high enough to overshadow them. Each step you take becomes part of a larger power dynamic, whether you acknowledge it or not, and the ones who understand this early begin to navigate the world with a sharper lens. They observe the motives behind every request, every invitation, every compliment. They start questioning why certain people suddenly need them and why others slowly withdraw. They start recognizing who sees them as a partner and who sees them as a resource. In this stage of life, the naive become especially vulnerable. Those who believe everyone has good intentions end up carrying burdens that aren't theirs. Those who avoid conflict out of politeness become stepping stones for people who crave control. Those who wait for opportunities to be handed to them watch as bolder, more strategic individuals seize them. After 30, the world operates less like a playground and more like a chessboard. Every relationship becomes a negotiation. Every promise becomes a test of consistency. Every weakness becomes an entry point for manipulation. This is why illusions become dangerous. The illusion of endless time. The illusion that people will stay just because they care. The illusion that talent alone is enough to survive. These fantasies protect you in youth, but betray you in adulthood. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago when he wrote that those who cannot recognize the nature of the world are destined to be ruled by those who do. Softness without strategy becomes submission. Hope without action becomes stagnation. Dreams without calculation become traps. And you begin to see this truth reflected everywhere. The coworker who rises faster not because they're more capable, but because they draw boundaries you're afraid to set. The friend who takes advantage of your kindness because you've never learned to say no. The partner who becomes controlling because you've never demanded respect. The family members who depend on you, not out of necessity, but out of convenience. Everywhere you look, the same pattern repeats. Those who refuse to evolve are quietly dominated by those who have embraced the harsher nature of adulthood. After 30, life becomes a strict mirror. It shows you not who you wish to be, but who you have allowed yourself to become. It exposes the gaps between your words and your actions, your desires and your discipline, your intentions and your reality. And this exposure is not meant to be cruel. It is meant to force you into awakening. It is meant to push you into strength. It is meant to remind you that survival is no longer guaranteed by innocence, but by intelligence and self-command. The world expects you to navigate it with sharper eyes, stronger decisions, and a deeper understanding of human nature. It expects you to recognize manipulation before it begins, to sense danger before it arrives, and to choose strategy over sentiment when the situation demands it. Because once the illusions of youth fade, you face a world that rewards clarity and punishes confusion. A world where every unguarded moment becomes an opportunity for someone else to steer your life in a direction you never wanted. Ruthlessness is one of the most misunderstood qualities in adulthood. People hear the word and immediately imagine cruelty, coldness, or a lack of empathy. But that is the illusion of the naive. Genuine ruthlessness, the kind that elevates you rather than corrupts you, is not about harming others. It is about finally refusing to let anyone harm you. It is the moment you decide that your time, your energy, your purpose, and your peace are no longer open for negotiation. And after 30, this shift becomes not only necessary, but inevitable. Because the world becomes sharper, and you either sharpen yourself to match it, or you get carved into a shape that pleases others but destroys you. As you move deeper into adulthood, people begin showing their intentions with far less hesitation. Some approach you with sincerity, but many approach you out of convenience. They want your emotional support while offering none in return. They want your labor while giving you excuses. They want your loyalty while offering inconsistency. They want access to the strongest parts of you while never acknowledging the weight you carry. In your 20s, you may tolerate this because you still believe being agreeable keeps peace. But after 30, you begin realizing that being agreeable often means surrendering your identity piece by piece until there is nothing left. This is where ruthlessness enters, not as aggression, but as clarity. It's the moment you stop justifying the behavior of people who drain you. It's when you stop saying yes to commitments that drown you. It's when you stop offering explanations to people who don't deserve access to your mind. It's when you finally understand that kindness, without boundaries, becomes a weapon used against the one who gives it. Machiavelli would tell you that a ruler who tries to please everyone ends up being respected by no one. Adults who refuse to protect themselves end up living under the rule of stronger personalities. Ruthlessness in this stage of life means enforcing standards without apologizing for them. You start noticing your own patterns, how you overextend, how you avoid confrontation, how you keep silent to avoid hurting feelings, how you tolerate mistreatment because you fear losing people, and you begin correcting these patterns with firm, decisive steps. You decline invitations that offer nothing but emotional chaos. You distance yourself from those who mistake your availability for obligation. You stop giving discounts on your value simply because someone is close to you, or because you fear their reaction. You realize you have spent years negotiating your worth with people who never once negotiated theirs. This transformation is not loud. It is not dramatic. It unfolds quietly, internally, where the deepest forms of power are born. You begin noticing how certain people immediately react when you stop being easily accessible. They become frustrated, confused, even hostile, not because you have wronged them, but because they have lost the version of you that was convenient for their comfort. The moment you start protecting your life, you expose who is benefiting from your lack of protection. And that revelation is often painful but necessary. It teaches you that ruthlessness is a filter. It removes the ones who were never meant to stay, revealing who respects you for who you are, not what you provide. In this era of your life, being ruthless also means learning to say no, with a steady voice. It means rejecting guilt that does not belong to you. It means walking away from opportunities that insult your intelligence, relationships that insult your peace, and environments that insult your growth. You stop caring about being misunderstood because you realize only the people who benefited from your silence will complain about your voice. You stop explaining your decisions because you understand that those who require explanations are often the ones who feel entitled to your life. You stop participating in dynamics where you have to shrink to fit in. As you adopt this mindset, you begin reshaping your world. Time becomes sacred. You choose solitude over chaos. You prioritize consistency over charm, You prefer truth over comfort. You surround yourself with people who respect boundaries, not those who test them. You start valuing actions over promises, reality over potential, effort over words. Your life becomes less crowded but far more aligned. You are no longer the person people call only when they need something. You are no longer the emotional sponge for those who refuse to manage their own lives. You become selective, intentional, and strategic. This is why ruthlessness is essential past 30. Without it, you become consumed by obligations that others place on you without caring about the toll it takes. You become the one who always adjusts, always sacrifices, always bends. And as Machiavelli warned, those who bend too easily eventually break. But those who develop the courage to act with decisiveness become forces others cannot manipulate. Your voice becomes firmer. Your decisions become final. Your presence becomes respected. Not because you intimidate, but because you no longer allow exploitation disguised as kindness. You stop participating in games where you are set up to lose. You stop feeding relationships where only one SID benefits. You stop ignoring your own needs to maintain the comfort of others. And slowly, ruthlessness becomes something else. Self-protection, self-respect, self-command. It becomes the armor that adulthood requires, the shield that guards your purpose, the sword that cuts away what threatens your growth. Not because you want to dominate others, but because you refuse to be dominated by anyone or anything ever again. Power is one of the most misinterpreted forces in human life. People imagine it as something inherited, something granted, something tied to luck or privilege. But when you cross 30, you begin to see the truth that was always hidden beneath the surface. Power belongs to the one who dares to take it. It is not gifted, it is not offered. It is seized by those who recognize opportunity before others and act when everyone else hesitates. The world functions through an unspoken hierarchy. Those who decide and those who obey, those who act and those who wait, those who shape and those who are shaped. And by this stage of adulthood, you begin to understand exactly which side you occupy. In your 20s, you might have believed that people advance because they are talented, because they are good-hearted, because they work the hardest. But as you grow older, you witness something unsettling. It is rarely the most skilled who rise. It is rarely the kindest who influence. It is often the ones who are bold enough to insert themselves where others would remain silent. It is the individuals who operate with strategy, intentionality, timing, and composure who climb higher than those who merely follow the rules. You start to notice how a single decisive action can catapult someone ahead by years, while a lifetime of waiting keeps others locked in the same position. Power favors movement. Power favors initiative. Power favors the person who is willing to risk. Take discomfort to gain control. And in every room you enter, you can feel this dynamic. There is always someone who steps forward first, someone who sets the tone, someone who speaks with confidence, someone who isn't afraid of being disliked as long as they are respected. These are the individuals who understand that influence is not about being nice, it is about being necessary. It is about making yourself the person people must go through, must consult, must rely on. And once you become that person, the entire landscape changes. Past 30, you begin to understand timing in a way your younger self never could. You learn that silence is not weakness, it is calculation. Observation is not passivity, it is preparation. With maturity, you realize how much information people unintentionally reveal simply by talking too much or acting too quickly. So you wait, you watch, you absorb. And when the moment arrives, you act with a precision that others mistake for instinct but is, in truth, a carefully sharpened skill. This is the kind of power that Machiavelli valued, the ability to strike only when the strike will matter. But many people never experience this shift because they remain stuck in permission mode. They wait for signals, for approval, for validation. They wait to be chosen instead of choosing themselves. They spend years believing that effort alone will be noticed, but the world is not structured that way. Effort without assertion is ignored. Potential without action is invisible. Talent without confidence is overshadowed by mediocrity wrapped in boldness. And no matter how skilled you are, if you do not claim your position, someone else will take the very space that should have been yours. This is why adulthood becomes a proving ground. Every relationship, every workplace, every opportunity becomes a silent test of whether you are a follower or a contender. You can see it in subtle moments. The colleague who volunteers to lead while others look around nervously. The person who asks for more responsibility instead of waiting for it. The friend who refuses to remain in stagnant environments and moves toward progress without apology. These are not accidents. These are individuals who have accepted the truth that no one will remember the quiet ones when decisions are made. Taking power is not an act of force, it is an act of self-belief. It means trusting your judgment even when others doubt it. It means stepping into uncertainty without waiting for reassurance. It means choosing action even when fear whispers that inaction is safer. You begin to understand that fear never leaves, it only becomes quieter when purpose becomes louder. When you act with conviction, people respond differently. Doors open faster, opportunities appear where there were none. Influence grows naturally because people sense certainty, and certainty attracts both followers and allies. And as you step into this new version of yourself, you start to notice another truth. Claiming power forces people to reveal who they truly are. Some will respect you more, some will fear you, some will resent you because your confidence exposes their passivity. Some will suddenly distance themselves because they can no longer control you. And while this may feel uncomfortable, it is simply the consequence of rising. You cannot claim authority without unsettling those who benefited from your hesitation. Power also brings responsibility. Not the kind that burdens you, but the kind that elevates you. You become accountable for your decisions, your direction, your influence. You stop blaming circumstances because you realize circumstances are shaped by the choices you make and the boundaries you enforce. You no longer tolerate being treated as optional because you no longer eat yourself that way. You speak with intention because your words now carry weight. You walk with purpose because your path is no longer accidental. And slowly, you become the person others look toward before making their move. You become the one whose presence alters dynamics, whose confidence redirects conversations, whose silence demands attention, whose decisions shift outcomes. Not because you dominate, but because you have chosen to command your life rather than drift through it. You have chosen to act where others hesitate. You have chosen to take what others wait to be given. You have chosen to step into the realm of power, where destiny belongs to those who pursue it with courage, precision, and unwavering intent. There comes a point in adulthood when you begin to understand that life is not something that happens to you. It is something you either design deliberately or allow others to design in your place. This realization arrives slowly, often painfully, and almost always after years of giving too much, tolerating too much, and hoping for outcomes that never materialized. And once you pass 30, this truth becomes undeniable. You start to see how every decision you avoid becomes a decision someone else makes for you. Every boundary you fail to set becomes an invitation for someone to shape your world according to their convenience. And every moment you delay stepping into your own power becomes another moment where your future drifts further away from the life you actually want. Becoming the architect of your fate does not begin with grand gestures. It begins with clarity. Not the flimsy kind of clarity that changes with the wind, but the kind that is carved out of self-awareness and honest reflection. You begin identifying what drains you, what inspires you, what distracts you, and what strengthens you. And for the first time, you understand that, a life cannot expand if you keep shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. Growth requires discomfort, distance, discipline, and decisions that often surprise even you. This is where ruthlessness transforms into something different, into direction. You start recognizing how much of your life has been influenced by expectations that were never yours. You see the way family shaped your decisions, the way society shaped your beliefs, the way fear shaped your habits, and the way other people's needs shaped your identity. And suddenly you realize that you have spent years conforming instead of creating. You have lived reactively instead of intentionally. But the moment this awareness settles in, something powerful awakens inside you. The understanding that you can rebuild everything. Designing your own fate requires sacrifices. Not the kind that break you, but the kind that free you. You begin cutting away the unnecessary, People who consistently drain you, commitments that bring no growth, environments that kill your potential, habits that make you small. These cuts are not emotional, they are strategic. You are no longer operating from guilt, fear, or obligation. You are operating from alignment. You begin choosing what supports your evolution rather than what keeps your history alive. And as you make these choices, you notice how your world reacts. Some people respect your transformation. Some become threatened by it. Some disappear because they can no longer manipulate the person you are becoming. Some follow you because your clarity gives them courage to examine their own lives. But regardless of how others respond, you stay focused. Because the path of an architect is not about pleasing the crowd. It is about constructing a life that reflects your truth, not your compliance. Building your fate also means elevating your standards. You stop accepting the bare minimum from relationships, from opportunities, from yourself. You begin expecting effort to match your energy. You begin valuing quality over proximity. You choose depth over comfort. You invest in fewer people, fewer distractions, fewer illusions. You give attention only to what strengthens your mind, your purpose, your future. Anything that weakens your clarity, you release without hesitation. This is not coldness, this is mastery. Machiavelli once wrote that those who cannot command themselves will always be commanded by others. And as you mature, this becomes painfully clear. You also learn the importance of solitude. Not loneliness, but intentional isolation. The space where your mind sharpens, your intuition strengthens, and your vision becomes undeniable. In solitude, you begin hearing your own voice louder than the noise of expectations. You confront your own patterns, your fears, your doubts, your desires. You refine them, you reorganize them, you rebuild them. Solitude becomes the forge where strategy is shaped and where your future begins to take form. No architect constructs in chaos, they construct in clarity. And when you emerge from this internal reconstruction, you are no longer the passive version of yourself that life once pushed around. You speak differently, you think differently, you choose differently. You no longer tolerate disrespect disguised as humor, chaos disguised as passion, excuses disguised as love. You see through manipulation with frightening accuracy. You sense people's intentions before they have a chance to reveal them. You move with purpose, and your presence carries a weight that wasn't there before. From this point on, life becomes less about reacting and more about directing. You begin taking bold steps, not because you are fearless, but because your direction is stronger than your fear. You pursue opportunities without waiting for permission. You redesign your relationships to reflect your standards instead of your insecurities. You make decisions based on long-term vision, not short-term comfort. Your life stops operating on autopilot and begins operating on intention. And slowly, you become unrecognizable to your past self. The one who hesitated is gone. The one who feared conflict is gone. The one who lived to please others is gone. In their place stands someone who understands the value of self-investment and the power of disciplined direction. You realize that being ruthless was never about becoming harsh, it was about becoming sovereign over your own existence. Because becoming the architect of your fate means taking full responsibility for what your life becomes. It means designing each chapter with awareness, courage, and precision. It means refusing to be a character in someone else's story and choosing instead to become the author of your own. In the end, the journey beyond 30 is not a descent into harshness, but an ascent into sovereignty. It is the moment you stop living at the mercy of circumstance and begin shaping your life with intention. You discover that ruthlessness was never about cruelty. It was about clarity, about drawing lines where you once allowed chaos, about choosing strength where you once surrendered, about stepping into power where you once stood in hesitation. You recognize that the world does not reward softness without strategy, nor does it honor effort without boundaries. It respects those who command themselves, who act with purpose, who refuse to be ruled by fear, guilt, or the demands of others. Through these transformations, you learn that power is not taken from you. It is abandoned through inaction, indecision, and self-doubt. And once you reclaim it, you see life through a sharper lens. You see who belongs beside you and who merely held you back. You see what matters and what was only noise. You see the difference between people who value your growth and those who value your compliance. Every step you take becomes deliberate. Every choice becomes aligned. Every boundary becomes a declaration that your life will no longer be shaped by convenience or expectation. The world after 30 is not kinder, but it becomes clearer. And in that clarity you find your true strength. You learn that becoming ruthless is not a threat. It is a promise to yourself that you will no longer betray your own potential. You rise not to dominate others, but to ensure that no one dominates you. You step forward not to control the world, but to control your own path within it. And as you claim that path, you finally understand the truth behind the lesson. After 30, you either become the ruler of your life, or you spend the rest of it living under the rule of someone else.